Good morning, third graders, and happy Monday. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I was very thankful to see some sunshine, and we were able to go on lots of walks, which is nice. Bryn and Blair need to get outside, and so we were happy to be able to walk and just do something a little bit different right now. So I hope you got to have some adventures of your own with your family. Well, today we are going to pick back up where we left off last week in our grammar skills. But today we're going to pick up on something a little bit more challenging. We are going to be working on commas again, but today we're going to be using commas in a very different way in writing sentences and helping us make our sentences a little bit longer, a little bit smoother, and combining different thoughts together. As really great writers, one of the things that we want to do is create different types of sentences in our writing. We don't want our writing piece to all sound exactly the same. It would kind of sound like a robot, or what we talked about when we worked with personal narratives. It would sound more like a reporter voice than a storytelling voice. And so one of the ways that we create that voice in our writing is by using different kinds of sentences and combining sentences together when we can. Well, you guys are already doing that excellently in using different types of sentences, so using questions, using exclamatory sentences and statements when you need to. You're also getting very, very good at using dialogue in your writing, which gives your writing a voice. You can actually imagine what the character would be saying or sounding like as he or she said it. Well, today we're going to look at how to take sentences and how we could take two simple sentences, which you guys are already experts on writing, but how could we take two sentences and using a comma and something called a conjunction, combine two sentences together into a little bit of a longer or a stretch sentence, but it gives our sentence in our writing a little bit more variety than we already have. So let's look at a couple of examples. In our lesson today, we're going to combine two grammar skills. The first skill we'll be using is connecting two simple or small sentences together using a word called a conjunction. Now, you may have touched on this a little bit in second grade, and if you did, you may remember that conjunctions can be, sorry, my finger got in the way, conjunctions can be put together, and we can remember them by creating an acrostic poem using the letters F-A-N-B-O-Y-S, fanboys. And those each create one of the conjunctions that we'll need or could use in a sentence, depending on what's going to make the most sense, and we'll see a little bit of that in a second in our example. So we could use for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so to combine two simple sentences together using our other grammar skill of the week, a comma. So let's see how we could do that. This is the task card that you'll be seeing in today's assignment on Seesaw. I want to go ahead and do a couple of these with you. So what we're looking at today is taking two what we call simple sentences. Simple, easy to write. We have a subject, I, and we have a predicate, like ice cream. Simple thought, statement, easy to write, easy to do. But as we become better and better writers, one of the things that we want to be able to do is look at sentences and combine them together to show some type of relationship that sentences can have. So for example, let's look at these two simple sentences. And we're going to work on using a conjunction to combine these two simple sentences together in what we will be calling a compound sentence. So in just a second, I'm going to bring in a piece of paper and we're going to work on taking these two small sentences and writing them into one new compound sentence using a conjunction and a comma. So right now we're looking at two simple sentences. I like ice cream. I don't like milk. When I read these two sentences, sorry, it's kind of shaking. When I read these two sentences, I see a relationship. Ice cream contains milk. But this writer is telling us, I like ice cream, I don't like milk. But milk is in ice cream. So what would be a way that we could rewrite this into one complete sentence using one of these conjunctions with a comma to show the relationship of someone who likes ice cream but doesn't like milk? So let's pause there and let me show you how this could look. Your recording sheet is going to look a little bit different than mine looks right now, but I wanted it to be big enough for us to see how we could combine these two simple sentences together. So I have the two simple sentences on my paper. I've also made a list of the optional conjunctions I could borrow from, and I made a note to myself to remind myself that I will be using a comma. So let's look at how we could combine these together. Well, first of all, we want to make sure that the conjunction we choose makes sense. We can't just throw any conjunction into a sentence. It may not make sense with the two thoughts we're trying to combine together. So here we have, I like ice cream, I don't like milk. And we already talked about how we see the connection that milk is in ice cream, but we feel like the author is trying to tell us two different things that somehow connect together. So how do we connect these into one sentence? So let me look at my conjunctions and let me choose a conjunction that I feel like would make the most sense in my new sentence. I could choose so. Let me see if that would work. I like ice cream, so I don't like milk. No, I don't feel like that works. Usually when I use the conjunction so, I am trying to give additional information to something that I've already given. Oh, sorry, I keep putting my finger right in front of the camera. I don't feel like the author is doing that here. He's not trying to give additional information. I actually feel like he's giving opposite information in a way. So would not be the best conjunction for me to use in this sentence. So I'm going to cross him off my list. I did it again. Okay, the next one is and. I like ice cream and I don't like milk. That does sound a little bit better, but and is usually when we are combining two same like items. And here I'm not combining two same items. He does not like ice cream and like milk. He's telling us he does not like milk. So I'm going to cross and off of my list. So that leaves me with but. Let's see if that fits in our sentence. I like ice cream, but I don't like milk. That makes a lot more sense because he's telling us that, yes, I do like this, but he's giving us an alternative or another example or an opposite of how he feels about ice cream. So that makes a lot more sense. So what do I do now? I need to add the conjunction into my sentence, and there's a few things that I must do before I can do that or to make it correct. First of all, I need to take away the period that I have at the end of my first simple sentence because now I'm combining these into one complete sentence. And I'm going to change that period into a comma. There's our comma rule. Then I can add in the word but. Then I will leave my I as a capital because I am using the pronoun I. But if this was a different word, I would change that to a lowercase letter. And then I write the rest of my sentence with a period at the end. So let me show you what the final sentence would look like. Here's an example of what my final compound sentence would look like. I like ice cream, but I don't like milk. I put a comma in between the two simple sentences, and after the comma, I use the conjunction but because that is what made the most sense in my sentence. All right, third graders, it is your turn. You're going to go to Seesaw and find an activity labeled conjunctions. It will have in the instructions some task cards for you to look at and do exactly what we did together as a group right here. Then you will have a recording sheet where you will write your new complete compound sentences with correct punctuation, correct capitalization at the beginning and now in the middle of a sentence. That includes taking away capitalization that you don't need anymore and writing your new compound sentence here. Remember, we write these new compound sentences as expert writers. We want to move away from choppy robot writing with lots and lots of small, short, simple sentences. We want to start showing that we are able to make connections between two sentences and combine those together into compound sentences using the conjunctions and a comma that we practiced just now. So good luck. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.